Hey guys, I just want to talk about a topic that's actually really personal to me. Um, so I'm just gonna dive right into it. I was homeless for the first 5 months when I moved out to LA. Pretty much what I did to come out here was I was tired of living in a place called Fairfield, Ohio. It's kind of like a really small town outside of Cincinnati. There's not really much to do. Everyone pretty much does the same thing. They go to high school, graduate high school, go to college, graduate college, get a job, have kids, same old thing, which I'm sure wherever you're from, that's probably what everyone does anyways. I was kind of sick of that. And the thing is, even if you do go to college, you usually don't end up getting a job in whatever you went to college for because that's just how it works. Um, yeah, so I was homeless for the first 5 months when I came out here because I did decide to just mark a date on my calendar, January 1st of this year. Drove across the country. I actually had a couple friends with me. Didn't work out. They ended up all coming back home. When I got here, I didn't take an account that finding an apartment was going to be about $1,200 a month just for a small studio. And I'm just talking about like a room with maybe a bathroom and then probably either no kitchen or the kitchen is inside the one room. Um, so I didn't take that into account for. So I ended up being homeless, and you couldn't get a place unless you had a job, and you can't get a job unless you have a California ID and you have a place. So it was just like this huge cycle of not finding a place. Um, yeah, so I was homeless. I was sleeping wherever. I remember um, having just the clothes on my back and being like just on the street and thinking, wow, like this is what I came out here for. This is probably the fourth month of being homeless. I did have a car when I went out there and ended up being repoed because I did drive it across the country, and they were not on board with that apparently. So that was pretty terrible to not have anything. All my stuff that was in the car when it got repoed was taken into storage, and I couldn't get it out because I didn't have money. Um, you can't get a job unless you have a proof of residence. It's all messed up. So that takes a point that most of the time when people are homeless, it's not their fault. It's not because they're on drugs or drinking or anything, because honestly, I wasn't doing any of that. I ended up starting school at the Musicians Institute, and I ended up finding an apartment through that, being able to prove that I was going to school. I got an apartment. I shared an apartment with two other people. It was a small studio. It was about $800 a month in Hollywood. Um, and the thing is, when I found that, that was 4 months, 5 months into being there. Um, and if I would have left on 4 months when my parents were calling and saying they wanted to send me home and for me to just stop and like I can start back where I came from. And I'm like, no, I mean, I've been through this much. Like, once you're at the bottom, you realize that there's nowhere to go from but up from there. And the crazy thing is that LA is actually a great place to be. And I thought that I couldn't make it out of Cincinnati. I couldn't become big out of Cincinnati. That I had to come to LA. And the truth is, it doesn't really matter where you are. You can really make it out of anywhere. Just what you make of your city, how much time you put into whatever it is you want to do. Um, the thing is, you just gotta know that everything will fall into place. Because if I would have left, I wouldn't have found the apartment, and I ended up giving up the apartment after 1 or 2 months because I got an opportunity to go out on Warped Tour, and from there, I ended up finding a band. Yeah, I'm in a band now called Common Thief. We're pop punk. They're based out of Pennsylvania, so I'm out here right now, but I'm actually going over to Pennsylvania so we can put out some new stuff. Their original lead singer, Dylan, he died of a heroin overdose back in January, so they had a new guy, Kagan, out on tour with them. Things didn't work out. Whatever side it was, it just didn't work out. I think Kagan just decided he wanted to do a little solo stuff. So they actually asked me to sing for them on tour, and then they wanted me to stay in the band, and so now this is great. And the thing is, if I would have gave up right before I was about to strike gold, I would not be where I am, and I wouldn't have these awesome opportunities. I made the friends of my life on Warped Tour, and if I would have just gave up and went home, I would still be probably at home in Fairfield, not doing shit with my life. And you can really do anything you set your mind to. The thing is, you just gotta know not to give up. And you're gonna go through hell to get to where you want to be. That's not really something I tell people that I was doing, was being homeless for 5 months. And you probably don't know that I was, and that's okay. Now you do. The thing is, when you see movies about great people or people that, strive to be something, and like any movie, any story, it's never like, oh, they had all the money, they went over to LA or wherever it was, they got a place, and they just became exactly who they wanted to be. There's gonna be something stopping them, something in the way, someone telling them no, someone telling them they can't do it, someone telling them you're not good enough, someone telling them, oh, well, you can't do it because you're like this, or you can't do it because you're like that. Um, I've never heard of anyone having a perfect life that actually does something. If you want to be having a perfect life, and or whatever you consider perfect, if you want to not have to face any obstacles, you can go ahead and sit at home on your couch and eat your cereal and watch TV and play video games every day and never do anything different. But if you want to have something different, you need to do something different. Um, Eventually, if you're like, well, I'll do it when I have money, or I'm going to do this when I have money, or I'm going to do this when when this happens, you're never going to do it. I'm sorry. You're just never going to do it. It's never going to happen. You're going to keep saying that, and I don't know. You're just going to keep saying it. That's the thing. That's how it happens. And next thing you know, you're going to be old. Don't wait for your midlife crisis to go out and do what you want to do. There's an awesome book called The Alchemist, where actually in The Alchemist, the guy that sells the crystal, he actually started the crystal store so he could go on a trip somewhere, and he ends up having the crystal store and trying to save up money forever. And finally, when it comes time, oh, he has enough money, he doesn't want to go. And that's the thing. People get comfortable in their surroundings, and they never end up doing anything more with their life. So this is just a little thing, maybe a motivation on how you can do more with your life, on how I've decided to do more with my life. In no way am I considering myself at the successful point I would like to be. I still have such a long way to go, but honestly, with everything that I see in my future and I know is about to happen, I'm not worried. And I know I have to take risks. There are things that I do every day that are just so uncomfortable because I'm so scared of how bad it could turn out. And if I don't have things like that in my life that I'm scared of, then how will anything good come out of anything? If you're doing the same thing that you're comfortable with, you're not going to prosper or become anything larger. You got to challenge yourself. So just go out and challenge yourself today.